Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we're going to take a look at the new Protector Christmas Diablo, the Umbral Wolf. And he's not bad, actually. He's got some good things to him, which makes it all the harder to try and tell people to skip. But just remember that Festive Memories is not a team that gets buffed apart outside of December. So, it is what it is. At least he's better than last year's Festive Memories team. That's a positive side. But he is buffing Festive Memories characters' damage against space enemies. He is giving magic characters attack and defense 25%. Like every burst protector, he gives you 30 skill points from turn 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then his actual protection skill changes every orb to green, and then 2 of those turn into rainbows, which is cool. He has the same Dread status effect that Warrior's Mind Shuna has, that increases the power of debuffs by 40%. This is another debuff heavy team. And then he lowers ult resistance by 70% for 2 turns, which 70% times or plus another 40% is somewhere around like 110 or something like that. So it's a higher than what it is on paper. And then on top of that, he just gives you a free alt gauge every time you use them, just for free. It's not restricted either. A lot of old alt rush protectors only gave it to magic, or only gave it to certain elements or certain forces. Diablo is just like everyone can have an alt, which is cool. His trait, if you happen to pick dupes of him, you get 5% extra magic attack when you have 75% or more HP. Pretty typical trait for a burst protector. It's just that protector trait's really not the most important thing in the world. So let's go ahead and jump in. Alright, so starting off, we're going to use him with the other Festive Memories characters. We've got Frey, the free-to-play 9-head who is our DPS right now, and then Idol Shuna with Isis and Kyokyo, since they're cheap, and we have some debuffs with Isis and everything. So, I mean, this works. And she has Drago for magic allies, which will enhance the buffs that we have on this team. So, jumping in, Diablo will be a pretty good generic protector. Like, if you didn't really like the Dragon Haki meta and you're like, I don't want to summon, and you have some crystals, like, do you summon for Diablo? Maybe. With the caveat that, like, there might be a collab coming up in the future. Or at least there's the movie tie-in that we're going to have for the Tears of the Azure Sea in February. So, summon at your own risk. But Diablo can be a generically good burst protector. The only time he's really going to be stunted at all is if you have a fight where you cannot debuff. Because his alt resistance would turn into more alt, or his alt resistance debuff would turn into a buff for the enemies, and that's really not what you're looking for. But those stages are kind of far and few between, so I don't think you really have to worry about it too much. But turn 2, we could use Frey to give us the instant alt, because Diablo is going to give us the instant alt rush. So using Diablo, we have 1 green orb here. Okay, let's turn this on, actually. I don't think I've used him today, but let's just go ahead and make sure. Okay, so Diablo. Drop some presents on your head, give you the ult, put the debuff on for 2 turns, put the Dread effect on, which is going to enhance the debuff. So it's 70% ult resistance down, just base level. But once you add the Dread status in, it's going to be higher than that. So any debuff that you have on this team is going to be enhanced. So we look at Milim now, and instead of 70%, it's 119%. And that's from the Dread and the Frostbite effect, because both of those are giving extra stats to debuffs. So the Frostbite, I think, is 20%, Dread is 40%, so this is a 60% buff right there. Cool. And we have the instant ult for everyone. Doesn't matter who. Earth, fire, water. If we had characters up front from these two who weren't even on Festive Memories, they would get it too. So what we could do is we could use Frey's ability to try and give us the ult and nuke now. But we're going to not do that. We're going to reapply the Frostbite so it's active next turn. We're going to use the attack and pierce power buff for 9-head. That way we can hold on to it. And then we're just going to send him away. so we have points to use next turn, and we got a full hand, so we're good. And they're all buffed by Frey, so excellent. Max points, double Diablo, so you could double alt rush and give people EX alts if you have a double Diablo. And then if you have Frey, you could just make their alt orbs appear that same turn. So we could do that with Kyokyo as an example, just for funsies, so you can see it in action. So let's put the debuff down, and we can't synergy this fight, so there's no point in keeping Shuna up here. So let's take her out. Boom. I don't have her skill fused, so we don't have the EX alt damage, but it wouldn't affect Ninehead because he's not a free-to-play, or he's not an EX character. He doesn't have that ability. But now we'll take out Isis for Kyokyo. Still have a lot of points, so we'll do this. And he has no ult right here. Using Diablo twice will give him one ult. Boom. And then we'll also change orbs to rainbows. And we do it again. And now he has a double ult. And then using Frey's ability, we can now pop his alt orb in right here on one of his orbs. There we go. So we can access everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if Frey had a normal alt only, and we use Diablo to give the EX alt, once we use Frey's ability, we would get the EX alt instead. So it is kind of cool. So Kyokyo, alright. You don't do a lot of damage, you're support alt, but you're not actually supporting anyone but Isis. Frey is definitely supporting Ninehead. So this is going to be, what, 110% weakness strike for Ninehead? Sorry. Which is going to be enhanced by the Drago effect. So she does 720k, alright? And then 125k a hit for Frey. 200% orb, 259. And then Ninehead will come in and probably kill. Probably being the keyword. The Dread and the Frostbite is enhancing that alt resistance down that we have with Isis, which is even more than what we have already. So maybe bringing Isis wasn't the best character because we're doubling up. We could have brought a different kind of debuff along the way. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, he works. He works well, and he's going to work leading other teams too, so let's see that in action. Alright, so we're going to use the 4th anniversary units, Velzard, Milim, and Rimuru, alongside the Diablo to alt-rush Milim, who we know is a strong single-target nuker, and we're going to go into the Turbo Battle event versus Velzard. Doesn't have that much HP, but honestly, if we just get a Milim EX alt on like turn 2, and get her some skill points to nuke on turn 3, it's going to be probably pretty easy to do. We brought the 25-point Heartscape just in case we need a little bit extra skill points. And yeah, Diablo will be able to lead anyone. The only time that he's going to have an issue is with debuff reversal. Because we don't want that alt resistance debuff to turn into a buff for the enemy. So turn 1, we're going to convert those into blues. And we'll bring Milliman for Velzard. That way we have at least 2 orbs for her guaranteed. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That gets us access to Diablo so we can alt rush. Hopefully Milim just has a butt ton of orbs as well. And that will guarantee that our EX alt. Okay, that will work. Even though greens are nerfed here, we're going to have the green buff and rainbows. 70% nerf. Okay. So let's do that. Boom. And then Diablo. Alt rush us a bit. Alright, so does this actually get us her alt though? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It does. Not quite enough points though, but I don't need max points to use both of Milim's skills. I just need 160, which we're going to have here. Yeah, maybe we can actually use the Heartscape too, right? So let's bring Velzard in for Rimuru. And then boom, boom. And then, yeah, okay, we do have enough once we use the Heartscape. So the Drago effect enhancing the attack and the physical attack. We'll have the ult resistance debuff plus the dread effect, so we'll do that. And we've got the 240% damage increase, and then we'll use Diablo. And Milim here, I think, if she does not kill, I will be quite shocked. Quite shocked. Come on, what do you got? 1.9, alright. So yeah, it's not a super high number, but we did it with very little to do, and greens were nerfed in this fight. But we had rainbows, we had the green buff, which kind of offset it a little bit, and we had a powerful debuff that was getting enhanced. And if we had gone further into the fight to use the super crit and the crit resistance down, it would have been further enhanced by Diablo, making it even better. So, okay, yeah, he can lead a stacking quote-unquote team in a burst scenario, as long as you've got the skill points to make it work, and the skills. You know what Fern always needed? Faster ults. So let's do it. This time we are running a magic team minus Blanc, but Diablo, gonna change all the orbs to greens, plus the rainbows, plus the Blanc 40 skill points, so we're not running Himmel, so this isn't gonna be as effective, but I think we could easily take him out and put a Diablo or the free-to-play Isis in and buff the greens instead, and we'd still be looking pretty good. But let's just go ahead and run it like this. Again, we have the same Heartscape that's giving us points in case we need to use it. But depending on the starting hand, we could maybe steal into 6 oranges and buff the crap out of that. And we have type advantage over Lumi. Please give me 3 orbs. Okay, we have 3 orbs for Fern. Or not Fern, but Frieren. So, you come out. We'll yoink those. And then we'll use the orange buff now, because we have 5 of them. So even if we didn't have enough gauge to get an EX ult, we would get it from Diablo next turn. So maybe this is a bad example, but we are getting the ult resistance down debuff from Diablo. Fern has that too, alongside the synergy resistance down from Stark. So what we could do is we could do a stack of that. Boom. Okay. And then we could simply take you away and bring you in. And then we've got Diablo. The rainbow orbs will get buffed by the 70% gauge increase from Blanc, which is good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Max points, another Diablo. Stark has an EX ult now, not that he can use it. But I think we're going to be fine, because we should have 180 points now. We could use the Frieren buff and the Fern magic and synergy buff, and we'll already have a little bit of synergy down and ult resistance down, and that's going to guarantee us the kill. So we'll bring you in, and then we'll use Frieren, and then we'll use Fern's skill. Boom. Boom. We can reapply Diablo if we really, really wanted to. That would give us a Frieren EX ult. If we had Fern, we could bring that up. We could make that into an EX ult immediately, but we don't really need to do that because we're just going to kill. So Fern, sure, we can watch it. Why not? So yeah, Diablo will work for a number of different teams and a number of different scenarios. Specifically buffing Festive Memories, though, not the most useful thing, because again, it only happens once a year. But as a generic protector, oh wow, she didn't actually kill. I'm kind of shocked. It's okay. Stark will finish it up, and if not, then Frieren will. Wow. Really? How much health does that Lumi have? Like 3 something? A bit shocking, but still got the dub. That's the most important thing. Is that we had points to nuke, we enhanced some of the debuffs, we had our own ult resistance debuffs, so we didn't have to use Fern's other skill. Yeah. Alright. I'm fairly pleased with Diablo as a generic protector. I think he's pretty good. I think both him and Frey are solid, but I also think that they're quite luxury characters. Like, they're good to have. I don't think they break the game in a way where it's like you must have them to do everything. Like, they're nice to have, not required by any means. But let me know what you guys think of this new Diablo. Do you think he's better than that or worse than that? Do you think you're going to see yourself using him a lot in the coming months? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.